Hello, I didn't see you. I was just about to enjoy my beef risotto dinner. You want to make it? Well, I can show you. Alrighty, we're going to get started with the Caesar dressing to go on the Caesar salad with the risotto. You want to make sure you make this in advance, at least 4 to 6 hours, or you can make it overnight, the night before. This just allows the garlic to infuse into the oils. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start off with 3/4 cups of corn oil. Now, you can use corn oil, canola oil, or vegetable oil, whatever you have around. Now, I still need a little bit more. Going to open up a new bottle. And we're going to put this into our measuring cup. This is where we're going to be mixing all the ingredients. Alright, next we need a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Now we are going to add our salt and our pepper. You need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Alrighty, there we go. And now you can add a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, or you can just add it to taste, which is what I'm going to do. Getting there, takes a little bit to grind. Now I use fresh ground pepper, or you can use pre-ground pepper. Alright, next we're going to be adding our red wine vinegar. Now we need 2 tablespoons of this. Go back here. One tablespoon. And 2 tablespoons. Alrighty, next we're going to add 1 egg yolk. So that means we're going to be doing the egg yolk without the egg white. So to separate it, alrighty, so we're going to crack our egg here. Now you're going to want to try and make sure you get it into 2 halves, because you want to get rid of the egg white and keep the egg yolk. So what you're going to try and do is to cradle the egg yolk back and forth between the 2 halves while making sure the egg whites drip. And put that in there. And we're also going to be adding a dash of seasoning salt. Alrighty, so we've got our first ingredients in there, and we're just going to whisk this all together. Now we're going to be adding some Parmesan and some whipping cream to it next. But first we're going to whisk all this first. Alright. We're going to be adding 1/4 cup of Parmesan. Looks good. And 1 teaspoon of whipping cream. Now this you just want to stir together. You don't want to whisk it. You just want to get the Parmesan cheese in there. Just going to stir it all together. Alrighty, and finally, we are going to be adding 2 garlic cloves. Alrighty, so you're going to want to cut off the ends, and you're still going to have to get rid of some of the peel. So you're going to hold your knife, and if you just hold your knife there to hold it, and lift, that's going to bring off the skin, makes it a lot easier for it to come off. And same thing with the other side. Just cut off the end, hold your knife, and it gets pretty much of all of the layer. You will have to get a little bit off yourself. And we're going to do the same thing with the other one. Alrighty, so once you have those peeled, you're going to want to crush your garlic, but you don't want to breaking it into pieces. So you're going to place it on your cutting board. You're going to take your chef's knife and you're going to press it flat against the garlic, and you're going to hear a slight crunching sound. You're going to do this one a little bit more. And that's good. It might start to break apart. That's good. You're just going to drop it right in there. And same thing with the other one. And there we go. That's pretty much it to your Caesar dressing. Now again, you're going to want to let this sit for at least 4 to 6 hours. You can put some saran wrap on top and just leave it in the fridge. So I'm going to grab the saran wrap. So you can just use your saran wrap to cover it up. And then put it in your fridge, and when you're ready to use it, make sure you mix it up first, because the vinegars and the oils will begin to set, and you just want them mixed up for a nice even flavor. I'm going to put that in the fridge to set for later. Alrighty, so that's our Caesar dressing. Alrighty, the next step for our Caesar salad is preparing the romaine lettuce. So here we have a heart of romaine lettuce, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut off the end. Alright, then we're going to start taking layers off the heart until eventually you're going to see the end here again. You're going to cut it off again and continue going. And you're just going to keep doing this until you reach the heart of the romaine. And until you're down to your final piece. Alrighty. Next we're going to take the romaine and we're going to bring it over to wash it. So the next step is washing our romaine lettuce. You want to make sure it's running under cold water, and pretty much you're just going to wash it. Let's turn that down a little bit. You're just going to wash it. Make sure you get into the spine. Make sure it's all nice and clean. And once you wash both sides of it, you're just going to give it a quick shake. And then you're going to have it standing up in your sink to dry. So now we are done washing our lettuce. The next step will be preparing it for the bowl, which will be done once it's completely dry. Alright, so now we're going to start with our risotto. Now this is a family recipe that's been passed down for generations, and it may be a little bit different from traditional risotto. Traditional risotto usually uses a borio rice as opposed to white rice, which is what we use. So let's get started. First thing we're going to take is our rice. Now, we like to put it in the steamer beforehand to partially cook it before it goes in the pot. So we are going to need 1 cup of rice. Goes in here. And 1.5 cups of water. Normally, if we're going to fully cook the rice, the ratio would be 1 to 2 of rice to water. But in this case, we don't want it to fully cook because it's going to finish cooking in the pot. So we're only going to use 1.5 cups of water. That's 1 cup. That's another half. Alrighty, so now we're going to put this on the rice cooker. Alright, so let's get started with the onions now. So you're going to need 3 small-sized onions or about 2 medium-sized onions. First thing we're going to do is cut off the ends. Alrighty. Now that we've cut the ends off, we're going to make a slit going across to peel the end. Alrighty, we've got the skin off, we're going to cut it in half. Alright, now we're going to be cutting slits into the onion, going down and then across, and we want to make sure that we don't cut all the way through yet, because that's going to hold the onion together. So we're just going to go down into the onion, but not quite all the way through. Alright, so now that we've done this, we're going to come across and slice through. And the third time. Alrighty, make sure that you haven't cut all the way through, and now we're going to hold the onion together with our fingers and just go down, chop the onion. Alrighty, and as you can see, some pieces may still be a little bit thicker. And if they are a little bit too big still, you can just grab some onion and you can just chop them to get a little bit more of a fine chop. Alrighty, once it's nice and finely chopped, you're going to take it up onto your knife and into the pot it goes. Alrighty, now we're going to take our other half and do exactly the same thing. And into the pot this goes as well. So next up is going to be our garlic. Now, we're going to take our oil now and add as well, and we're going to add 1 tablespoon of the oil to the pot and 1 tablespoon to the garlic and to the knife. This keeps the garlic from sticking to the knife while you're chopping it. One tablespoon in the pot. We're going to cut the ends off the garlic first, chop, and then hold again to get the peel off. We're going to also cut off this little bad spot here on the garlic. Alright, so now we're going to apply the 2nd tablespoon of oil to our garlic and our knife. Some to the garlic and some to our knife. And we're just going to give that a quick little rub. Now, we're free to chop our garlic. Just want to cut this up
can, get it into a little bit smaller pieces. It needs to be very finely chopped. You don't want big pieces of garlic.
Alrighty, so now that that's finely chopped, scoop it up with the oil, and into the pot this goes as well. Now the rest of the onions and garlic I have pre-chopped. This is another 2 small onions and another clove of garlic. So that makes for 3 small onions and 2 cloves of garlic. And we're going to put that in there as well, make sure we get everything out. So now that we've added our onions and garlic to the pot, next we're going to be taking our fresh parsley and chopping it up. So you can see, have some fresh parsley here, and you're just going to take the leaves, and you're going to remove them from the stems like so. And I got some more parsley here as well, or you have the stems. And we're just going to take this and chop it up. Alright, so we're going to need 1 tablespoon of parsley.
I'm going to add that in there.
Make sure that goes out. Not a little bit extra, but that's alright. So now, we're going to take the onions, garlic, and the parsley, and bring it over to the stove to saute them. So now we're going to get to sauteing our onions. We're going to turn it on to a medium heat. So now we're going to use a spatula. Now you can use some sort of spatula or a spoon, whatever you like. And we're going to be sauteing these until the onions are translucent in color, which now that our onions are cooked down, we're going to be adding 1 pound of ground beef. We're also using a meat grinder now. If you don't have one, you can continue with the spatula or spoon. But if you do, it's good for breaking down the ground beef. So now we're going to be adding our spices. We're going to be adding 1 teaspoon of salt. Add in there. Half a teaspoon of pepper, or to taste. I'm just going to grind that in there. You can use pre-ground pepper if you want. I prefer fresh ground. Be adding a shake of basil leaves. So I'm going to put a shake into our hand. And I'm going to take it with our other hand and I'm going to grind it up in our hand and put it into the pot. And then we're going to be adding 2 shakes of roasted garlic and peppers. And a couple of shakes of hot sauce. Now you don't have to add this if you don't want. However, we prefer kick. So about 5 shakes should do the trick. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Now we're going to mix this up and keep going until the beef browns. So now that the beef is browned, we're going to be adding our stewed tomatoes. Now we're going to be adding our stewed tomatoes. First we're going to push in with the lid and let some of the liquid drain in. Go in there. Alrighty. Next we're going to be taking it with our hands and just squeezing it in there. Ready? I'm going to do this with the whole can. This is a 14-ounce can. Alrighty, and any leftover liquid, just going to put that in there. Now we're going to keep going. I'm going to mix the tomatoes in. So we're going to keep going with this until the tomatoes are cooked down, and then we're going to be adding our rice. Alrighty, so now that our tomatoes have cooked down, we're going to be adding our rice. First, we're going to be adding 2 cups of water. 1 cup. And 2 cups. And now we're going to add our rice. Just going to be adding all the rice from the rice cooker. So now we're just going to keep it going until it's all fully cooked. You want to make sure you keep it all mixing. Now we're just going to wait until most of the water is gone and all the rice is cooked. So while the risotto is cooking, we're now going to cook up some bacon to put on the salad. Put it on a medium heat. And put it in the pan. Now that we got the bacon in the pan, we're just going to fry it up. So even though the bacon is ready to turn over, when it starts becoming brown on the bottom side, you can just flip it over and have a check. Shows that most of these are done on the one side. That one's not quite. We'll let it go with the other. You want it to end up being a nice light brown. This will give it a perfect crumbly texture when you go to put it on your salad. Looks like the bacon's just about done here. Should be a nice brown color. And you just want to get some of the grease off before you take it off. Make sure, and then you're going to want to put it on paper towel beside the stove. That will absorb some of the grease. And yeah, it looks like all of these are done here. We're going to take all these off.
Alright, so to have a little bread on the side, we're going to be making some butter parmesan crescent rolls to go with it.
We'll be taking our dough here and unraveling it. Once we've got it unraveled, we're going to get it into triangles. Alrighty, so now that we got our triangles, we're going to be adding the butter and the parmesan. First the butter.
Alrighty, now let's add our parmesan. Just going to shake some of that on there. loosely roll them. Alright, now that they're all rolled up, they're ready to be put in the oven, and we'll put them aside until we're ready to put them in.
So as you can see, the risotto is done. Most of the water is evaporated or absorbed by the rice, and it's ready to eat.
Next, we are going to finish preparing our salad and then plate everything. So first thing we're going to do is break the lettuce. You want to make sure it's completely dry, and if it's not completely dry, you can use a towel just to pat it down. Alright, so we're just going to break it up. You just want to rip pieces off from the top. You know, make sure they're bite-sized. And if sometimes at the top you may have to rip it in half again, just to make sure they're small enough to be eaten. And you're just going to do this with all the lettuce. Alright, so now that all the lettuce has been broken up, we're now going to put dressing on it. This has been sitting here for a while, so of course the oils have set, so we're going to have to mix it back up before we put it onto the lettuce. Bring it out here. We're just going to whisk it out. We want to make sure all the oils and vinegar have been mixed back up, as well as the Parmesan. Alright, once that's done, we're just going to pour it onto the dressing. Now we don't want any garlic falling into the lettuce, so what we can do is just hold your whisk over where you're pouring, and that way you can just pour it and you don't have to worry about the garlic falling in. Alright, now we're just going to mix it up. That's all mixed up. Then we're going to chop our bacon for the salad. We're going to make some cuts across here. Cut it into thirds. And now we're just going to cut it in pieces going across. I'm going to make sure they're small, but not too small. Once this is done, we're going to put it into a small bowl for when we're ready to plate. That's all chopped up. Alrighty, bacon's done. I'm going to set this aside. Now, let's get to plating. Got our nice plate here. We're going to grab the risotto first. We're going to get 2 nice scoops of it on here. Alright. Now, we're going to add some salad. And so we're going to add our bacon bits to the salad. Get those on there. And some croutons to go with it. Next. Next we're going to get some Parmesan cheese on here. We're going to shave it on here. And we'll get a little bit on the risotto too. Alrighty, and lastly, we're going to add our crescent rolls. They were in the oven at 325 for 8 to 10 minutes till they're nice, light golden brown, as you can see here. Going to add that to our plate. Let's get 2. And there you have it. A beautiful risotto dinner with Caesar salad and some crescent rolls. So now you know how to make beef risotto. Now if you excuse me, I'd like to eat my dinner. Delicious.
They say hard work takes sweat, but if Old Spice odor blocker keeps me feeling dry, how would they know I worked hard? I've got to make stuff harder. Push my body to its limits. Take on more than is expected of me. Always be struggling. There, that's the perfect amount of hard.
Tyler, have you tried these Doritos loaded yet?
What? I've never even seen these before. Well,
What do you think?
The nacho cheese snack for the bold. Doritos loaded. Get them at 7-Eleven and only at 7-Eleven.